Welcome to AHDR The Chop out on Zwift. We are out on the Richmond flat road today for 6 laps. The D's have gotten out on course. They've been racing for about 3 minutes or so. If you're unfamiliar with chop racing, this is handicap racing out on Zwift, where all the categories race against each other. From the D category all the way to the A category. The D category, the C category, B category get a little bit of a handicap start over the A category, well, over each other. And they all race each other, try and catch each other before the finish line. Pat Shaw's alongside of me today, as usual. Pat, what do you think's going to? Let's just jump right into the racing with the D's, as we want to make sure that that we are making sure that we're covering all of the action here for the racing, as they have gotten out on course here. But a little bit different this week as far as the time gaps go. You want to explain maybe why they might have done that and what they are?
Well, the time gaps tonight, 2 minutes from A grade to B grade, and a further 3 should I say, the start C grade have 11 minutes for D grade tonight. So opportunity for D grade. However, there's no difficulties on this course. Well, basically no difficulties. It's almost what we call in Australia pan flat. So there shouldn't be any real trouble in sustaining your speed in your group in the A, B, C, or D categories tonight, but it's certainly going to be extremely fast. And it's a really good start for D grade already, who is in great night. And for those riding, now's the time to get your group built over the next week. So get all your friends on, because there's rumours around maybe a little bit of a series in the making. So it's a good chance to get a group together so you can take out the series as a group.
Yeah, for sure. And we do have the C category now just jumping out on course here, and it does look like a solid contingent of riders, actually. I think we saw 70 plus, maybe more. We'll keep an eye out on zwiftpower.com as well about what their power averages are as we do go throughout the race here. Going to take a look here real quick and see if we can grab the C category. And here they are, just jumping out onto the roads here. JP from HDR. RL now, it looks like, hammering away 168 beats per minute already. So the paces can be extremely high in the as far as, and that's the thing. Explain this a little bit for the community and those who are watching, as far as the, I say, the pace is extremely high. Somebody might be looking at this from an A category and be like 200 watts or 3.1. Like, what are you talking about? But, the reality is that because this is all about pushing your absolute best at your FTP, pushing your absolute best as almost a team time trial, the pace can be, all efforts essentially are equal between the categories, depending on how hard they want to push themselves, Pat.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why D grade gets a head start, because effectively everyone should be racing at the most difficult range. So if D grade ride at 95%, and A grade races at 96, then A grade should. That's how it works. So it is all putting in as a group, and we've spoken about using power-ups before as well. That becomes very handy as a group. And sometimes people sit in the pack and they think, I'm not going to the front, so I won't use my power-up. Go to the front, use your power up, and then go back and draft again, because that really assists your group. And I think that's best utilised by A grade and B grade. And I think if C and D grade were to use those tactics, they'd certainly be possible as well. So, but also I think the you explained as it's almost like a team time trial. I really think the D and C grade categories really get a lot out of that, and it prepares them better for when they individual races.
Yeah, definitely, and it essentially is a 40 minutes of everything of an FTP or over unders. We've talked about that as far as what the racers are experiencing. Essentially, over under intervals out here. Looking at the the zwiftpower.com and the course out there today, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of watts per kilogram they were able to hold. Last week we did see that the D category did take the win. Johnny Boy with that breakaway very late on. But we'll see if they can make that happen again. A little bit different out here today. As far as the, I think as far as the ability to stay away, it might be a little bit in the favor of the lower categories, of the D category, the C category, mainly because of the flat roads, and there not being any significant climb out there, and there is this reality that um, wattage, pure wattage on a course like this versus watts per kilogram might be rewarded a little bit more. You know, I think just because there is a reality that um, 300 watts at might be 2.5 watts per kilogram for somebody. It might be 3.0 watts per kilogram for somebody who's riding in that D category or in that C category. But that 300 watts on a flat is going to produce almost as much speed as 300 watts on a flat for an A category rider who weighs a little bit less. So, I think Pat that's on a course like this. I think the A's are really going to have their work cut out for them.
You've put the nail on the head there, and I'm glad that you spoke about watts per kilo versus power, because I think you are 100% correct. Pure power tonight will supreme over the per kilo ratios. Once you get up to speed, that's really the key on these flat roads, getting up to speed and then maintaining it as a group. So if you've got someone there that's really big and put out some really pure power, get that speed up of the group and then maintain it as a group, that can be really helpful tonight. And I think really that swings a little to A grade's advantage in that component, but certainly touched on the lack of difficulties. And when we speak about difficulties, obviously race is going to be hard, but there's no real climbs in this course, and therefore there shouldn't be any reason for C and D grade to split up this evening.
Yeah. That's a really good point about them not splitting up. I mean, what would be the reason, besides usually that we saw like on Innsbruck last week, they get completely strung out every time they hit that climb. There's only this little cobble climb that we do see them go the D grade going up right now at this moment, 2.7 watts per kilogram, getting a little bit strung out, but nothing like we saw last week where it would just completely splinter the group here. All pretty much together here now at this point. So solid efforts here all around. We're seeing the A category now just getting off the blocks here. Does look like we got a solid 5.2 watts per kilogram here coming from the A category. It is going to be Johnson here from Team HDR. It does look like Graham Brown's out there from GB Coaching as well. W. Frazier coming from Park Life, it looks like. And then it will be a couple of riders here out in Europe there with an early morning ride here with M. Nim coming out of Denmark, as well as Sigma. They're coming out of Canada, actually. Very early morning there for the rider with the name Sigma. They're out there today. So Johnson on the front, though, 5.8 watts per kilogram right now. Solid effort here coming from him. And at 165 beats per minute, I think they're just kind of starting to roll into their team time trial mode. It's going to be a hard go, though, to catch back up. Already over a lap done for that D category, lap and a half, pretty 8 kilometers. There is a 7-kilometer difference right now, Pat, between the A category and the D category. That is, talk about your work cut out for you. But they got 41 riders out in here. Nadsy's out there from WP Taz. Haven't seen him out there in a while. Egan here from the Dirt team there. WP Taz actually showing up with a little bit of force today. Mackenzie's out there as well, so interesting to see. That's a team name in the world of Zwift racing that I haven't seen a whole lot of action from lately. So we'll see if they're a little bit motivated to put some watts on the front there. Hodges is absolutely loved, it seems like, here, as James Hodges is out there coming out of the UK as well.
Yeah, the Wolfpack and Mackenzie, who you touched on there, it's Hugh Mackenzie, I believe. He's only an under 17 rider, I think. So really impressive effort to line up in A grade category tonight. Chapeau and up the hard work, because he's really skill in his junior category racing. I've watched him in the junior series. He comes over to Victoria and races against the best riders in Australia for his age. And he's been very dominating in that area. So to see, I've spoken about it many times before, but I love seeing these young riders getting involved because they feel a whole nother lane as Hodges pushing 460 watts. We talked about pure power or significant power, 504. Not a very high heart rate either, so very sustainable for Hodges, it seems.
Yeah, Hodges, he does beat a little bit low. I think his threshold is in the high 160s or in the 160s. So I think he knows that this being the only section of course where there is a little bit of an uphill grind, this cobbled section and down into the the over toward the sprint banner for the sprint/lap banner. The sprint banner does act as the lap banner on the Richmond Flats here. 167 now, still 7 watts per kilogram. Really trying to ramp that speed up. I think knowing that it's going to be all about just really big turns on the front here on the day. So B. Johnson there, Brown there, now making his way to the front here. We'll see if anybody is willing to match the kind of efforts that we are seeing from the A category here at this moment here. The D category will be lapped by the A category if they are caught. That is something that will need to happen here. We are looking at the D category. It looks like with Arn McShane now from AHDR ladies now. 173 beats per minute now. In the A category, you do see that 233 behind, but that is before they lap them once. So this is going to be an interesting, they're going to have to catch them twice out on course. Donahue here now, just saw him hanging out in the live broadcast saying, catch us if you can. Dear Nadsy, catch us if you can. Bring it. Coming from Donahue from Team Zwift Fitness. Good to see Donahue out there in the broadcast. I love the chatter in the broadcast, you guys. We are watching the chat over on Facebook. I am clicking over to Twitch, YouTube, and Mixer as well. The main chat I am watching is Facebook at this point. If you haven't done so already, make sure to share it up, especially if you're racing. Share it out to your friends. Let them know, hey, I'm out here racing in this. This is a community race. Oh, you didn't know that I raced my bike. I ride D category, C category, B category, whatever it might be. Look, I'm racing against some of the fastest out of the lands down under here, and some in the world to try and take that win across the line with this category. Pretty cool situation. So Donahue, no, we are seeing 142 B. 142, Donahue. Have you been taking the polls in the front here, or what's going on? As we see Brooks saying B is a lap down. Johnny Boy, our winner from last week, we'll see if he can throw down again for a win. We'll keep the time gaps if we can in our view here over on ZwiftPower.com. It's where we do go for all of the community racing stats and things. But Pat, a little bit of chatter here and smack talk. That's kind of what we like about it, though, hey?
Well, Nadsy's a good helper on the Zwift events as well. So a big shout out to Nadsy. It's great to see him getting involved again, and the Wolf as well, because they love the winter racing. And there's no love lost between Donahue and Nadsy, so it's great to see. That's the side part of the series, and it's something that I really like. And basically, too, in our own bike shop, that people come in and they want to talk about the chop and they want to talk about the SRAM Send It series, and it's fantastic to see that they tune in or they compete. And that's why we're doing a big shout out and saying, bring fans, because we really want to make this chop series really, really big. We've seen some huge numbers, between 500 and 600 riders turning up in the SRAM Send It series on a Tuesday night. We love those numbers mimicked in the Thursday night chop racing as well. And as you can imagine, on this course with a group of 150 riders, just how fast you could get up.
Yeah, and we are seeing the 27 we're seeing here, 44 kilometers per hour right now coming from the main D group here. The C category now, we are seeing they are starting to make a little bit of headway, but still a lot of room to be making up here. And with the speeds being so consistent here between the riders now, it's going to be hard to make things happen, it looks like. Thomas here now from AHDR. They still got, it looks like, I believe, maybe 4 laps to go. B. Abbott toward the front here, as you can see. Clark there as well. Lonergan always been showing up. McDonald, too, toward the front as they are hanging out in that World Bicycle Relief kit. And with 83 riders, one of the competitions within the competition, I think, is also how many riders can you get to show up to your category? That's kind of been a talking point as well. We are seeing in the B category, what is the time difference between the A's and the B's? I think that you said that it was 2 minutes
2 minutes.
between them. So the A category has
2
brought back a minute, it's brought it down to a minute and a half at this point, it looks like. Maybe a little bit less. And starting to catch a few of those who have fallen off with that B category. So they're quickly making ground on that B category. The B category, we'll get them inside as soon as we possibly can. It's the one feed that we don't have live here. But the B category has made a lot of headway on that C category with only about 3, maybe 2.5 minutes at this point difference between them. We'll have to keep eyes on how that plays out. But I think the C category does have, is competing pretty well here with the Bs with the largest numbers of riders showing up on the day. 83 here in the C category today as they make their way onto the cobbles of the Richmond UCI course here. But we're not doing the full UCI course. It's just all about the flats out here today as they do head into their, I believe it's going to be third lap here. We are seeing Jay Bijou from Team Experimental. Must not be riding his bike a whole lot lately, coming out of the Netherlands, riding in the C category. Perhaps we'll just keep it right around that 3.0 watts per kilogram. Join us, the lift. We're hearing here from Kay Simpson. We'll see if she can make the juncture, though. I think it's still quite a ways between these two categories here, as it looks like Simpson here making her way toward the front end of the pack with that beacon. If the beacon's making its way to the front, I think it's saying, hey, time to get going a little bit there, Pat.
Yeah, and look, we spoke about the beacon last week in quite an elaborate fashion, and I think that if you're new to the chop, then follow the direction the beacon gives. The beacon is your leader for those chop or those watching and looking to get involved in the coming weeks. And so that person has been allocated because of their experience on Zwift and their knowledge of how Zwift works. So listen to their instructions, but also it's important that the ride leader the group also contributes. And so I don't mind seeing the beacon go to the front. It is important that the give direction, though, because as we see Zwift grow, and we've seen an exponential growth, particularly here in Australia, it's really important they're teaching and handing on skills and expert, and that's really good. I think another one is the Wednesday night hump ride. It's a really good one to do too if you're taking in tonight's chop, or you're also being part of the SRAM Centre series. Another great ride that you can meet other people, learn people of your similarity. You can follow them. Later on in the week, you might be doing a race on a Saturday or a Sunday on Zwift, and sure enough, you line up next to each other. Who knows? You might even help one in the race.
Yeah, we are seeing at the front of the A category now, speaking of helping out in the race here, they were just hammering just a moment ago. 47 kilometers per hour, 38, 39 kilometers per hour in a similar section of the course for the D category. It looks like they did just come by a few of the D category riders just a moment ago. What is the distance here? 35 seconds to the first time to lap them. Can they lap them again before the end of the race? It'll be interesting to see if they're able to make that happen. As there's 5.4 on the front here. A little bit of a gap still. Chadburn here, it looks like, as well as Brown here, looking to struggle just a tad to hang on to the pace here. Is the beacon off the back in the A category, though? It looks like it is. There's been a gap here. Creel perhaps not on either on the game today, maybe just giving direction, or perhaps the pace was just that incredibly high. The A category here is just not waiting up. I think in the A category, things change up, though, just a little bit as to the, how crucial it is to have everybody to hang on, because their speeds need to be so incredibly high. And if they got like 4 or 5 worker bees at the front that are just putting in massive turns and they're not slowing down, they can afford maybe just a little bit more of a shedding of the pack. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, though, Pat.
Well, the big thing with A grade is because the pace is so hot, it's so severe that all you need to be, 15th or 20th wheel in the group, and all of a sudden they feel a bit fragile. They leave a gap, and you just can't fill the gap. Once you realise the gap's opened up, you go to respond, and you think, oh yes, I can get there, and you just miss it by that second. Once that gap opens up over 1 second, particularly at this pace, and we've often seen numbers in the 400 and 500s of wattage output by the group. That's just impossible to maintain on your own versus the group. So maybe caught out by just a little split in the but companion app not working. Jeffrey Creel pops through. So he's lost because a ride leader or a group is a significant bonus because it keeps everyone on level playing field. It keeps people understanding what's going on.
Yeah, and a quick chat to what the companion app. You mentioned the companion app for some reason was unable to connect there for a moment. Perhaps we are seeing a catch here. It looks like now for the A category, the first time going by the D's. But again, this is only the first time that they are going by the D category. They're going to have to do it a second time if they are going to win the race on the day. You can see the speed differences here. It's about on the same section, of course. We are seeing the D category 43 kilometers per hour here. We're seeing 52 kilometers per hour here coming in from the A category in the same section, of course. Even a 10 kilometer per hour difference, actually. So that's a pretty high turn of speed here from that A category, the way that they're cruising right on by on this course here. Our total for 6 laps on the day. It'll be interesting to see if they can close this down 34 kilometers. That means we are just about little over halfway into this race here. Are they going to be able to keep, this kind of the kind of speed that they're going to have to pull off here in order to close this down now? Is their difference now 11.5? We're seeing 16.5 kilometers. So they have done the job about halfway. At the start, it was 8 kilometers difference. So only about 4, maybe 5 at this point here to close down. As far as the numbers and the stats go, it might not happen. That's not always how racing works out, though. But the stats are showing us, Pat, that it might be about a half a kilometer off, 500 meters off.
Yeah, well, the big thing about this is that this now lets D grade monitor themselves a little bit off A grade whilst they're adjusting. So you don't want to override, but it does give them the ability to measure their effort against the A grade category. And they know how far the race is. They always know how far the race is. The riders are really smart with that kind of measurement. So it's great to see such big numbers turning out again. We see Graham Brown back again and Guy Karma in there as well. So a couple of riders from WA all the way over. So it's a bit earlier in the day for them, but great to see them joining in for the chop as well.
We're seeing a push here now coming from the B category. WP Taz jumping in with the B category, maybe even slowed down to help out with the poles here with the teammates, I would think, or at least knowing that the teammates are in and amongst where he got caught putting a solid pole in. But Hodges absolutely loving this section, of course, keeping the pace extremely high. We are seeing Litri here coming out of Spain trying to jump back onto that wheel. Park Life here as well. It looks like Fraser now 12.7 kilometers in at 48 kilometers per hour. Back in with that D category. We'll jump in with the C's as well here. Just a moment. We'll see if we can grab that feed. And here they are, 36th right now. It is going to be Gaffel we're looking at here. Martin as well. The Beacon toward the front again. It's K. Simpson now, 3.1 watts per kilogram. Really egging the pack on. And it looks like, and it's telling everybody to keep it tight. Jump on the Beacon here. We want to keep away. We want to make sure that we're catching up to that D category as well. We did see where the D category rolled through just recently. On this section, of course, a moment ago. The difference here between them, it does look like it is a couple of K here at this point. Tarosian now PLCC on the front driving the pace. 168 beats per minute here coming from Krivitz. And shout out to the ride leaders, though, because K. Simpson here is pushing at 178 beats per minute and still giving directions, Pat. That's no easy task here. Hang in there, C's. We've got this. She's letting everybody know. So big shout out to the ride leaders who do put in the work while they're probably getting their companion apps fairly sweaty out there today here, Pat.
Yeah, 100%. And you've got to highlight, I think it's Crystal, isn't it? Simpson. She is amazing for her group. Last week was really impressive in the information that she put forward. And as I said, a lot of these groups have got first-time racers or first-time choppers, let's call them, coming out. So the better and the more simple the instructions are, the more beneficial they are for those riders. And I think the riders in the groups really appreciate a good ride leader as well. So the C graders, and how about get the job done? Get the job done on this course.
Yeah, shout out to them. They definitely do an amazing job each week, and the organization that goes into the shop too. You know, it is impressive. 4 different group ride leaders. You know, 4 different categories, all essentially. Well, the hopes of each category not coming together out on course, but the reality of the way that they organize and make sure that they're showing up week after week for this amazing race and encouraging that category. And I think that they're starting to get some good camaraderie amongst the categories as well to know who their ride leaders are, who each other are, and push each other out on course. And as you said, they're coming into the shop, they're chatting about what the experiences of the chop. The chop's been absolutely awesome. They're saying, you know, they love to hear the commentary out there and the camaraderie to compete against each other. Very cool situation for sure. Back in with the A's now. We're going to jump into here as they do head on over toward their, I believe it's going to be about a little over halfway point. They've completed 3 laps, heading into lap number 4. Here's Fraser from Parklight making his way to the front. Slowing down a little bit as the pace is dropped under 5 watts per kilogram. I'm not sure that they've got the firepower today to keep a solid 5 watts per kilogram off the front continually. Nim here from DBR, it looks like, trying to push the pace for them, though. We're going to look at some of the stats here. In the D category, the highest average has been about 2.7 watts per kilogram for the duration so far. They've been racing the distance 19.3 kilometers so far out there today with about, it looks like, total of 30 minutes right now. And then in the C category, the higher pace is about 3.7 from Emily Compson in that C category. Solid effort there from her as she's put in a lot of work for those 83 riders. Also up into about 3.7 here for Nov Oda coming out of Japan, actually, as it's cool to see a lot of the riders from all over the world jumping in with the chop racing. The B category, big shout out to Ash Burke there with 3.7, but 4.4 from Taryn Heather is actually showing up in the chop today here. Interesting to see Specialized Women's Racing from the SRAM Send It series. Probably watched the broadcast back and said, oh, wait, what's this chop racing all about? And we'll see if we can find Taryn Heather out on course here in that B category. And it's good to see some of the women there from the women, as well as some of the other higher end, high end racers there in the SRAM Send It series. Johnson will be another one. Graham was also hanging out in there as well. Obviously, Jeffrey Creel's been in there from the A category. But we are seeing as well a few of looks like the women from in the B category here hammering away. We'll see if we can find Taryn Heather as the A's look to catch the B's, but still a pretty big gap between them here at this point. But what a cool little thing to see for the workout midweek here for some of the elite racers that have been showing up to that SRAM Send It series there.
Yeah, we certainly have seen a few over the weeks join in. And I think Taryn Heather, she was involved last week with B grade, which is great. And I think she's using it. She's used Zwift more and more. I think she's finding that the form is really gaining as well. Her climbing form has been sensational in the SRAM Send It series, and I think if she can transfer that across to the real life, she's going to really do some damage in the National Road Series later on in this season.
Yeah, I mean, the climbing legs definitely were on point, from that lead group. Heather being able to make that split this past week between the 4 riders, as we did see Smart walk away again, but she definitely was involved there and is looking to compete for a top spot. D. Harry here from OAM here trying to get off the front, looks like a little bit, and maybe egging everybody on. Oh, he's been actually a rider who has dropped one, so it looks like he's just looking to jump back in with the group and not get past too much rate of speed as they do head into the finishing up of their 4th lap of 6 out there today. Back in with the C category now, as we do see Simpson here, 27. We're looking at miles per hour here. We're doing a couple of the U.S. Metrics there up on the top here, 12 miles in, but 27:04 so far. Let's see if they do have D category anywhere within their sights here at this point. I do have the D category feed here. We'll see where they were at just a moment ago. They're actually, it looks like, just around the corner from this section out on course here. 28.8 kilometers they've covered in total so far. And according to ZwiftPower.com, our total on the day is going to be 34. So they still got about 13 kilometers to go. 2.5 laps, I believe. in order to complete. So they've got a good gap here, but C category is starting to hunt them down a little bit here, it seems like. And they might start getting a little bit anxious here to stay away from the categories behind now. They need to start picking up the speed because I think this is within sights for the C category now to make the juncture, Pat.
Yeah, well, and if the C category does get on, they're a big chance tonight again. But we're looking at a few of the stats, and everyone's really working well in all of the groups. Most of the groups have stayed together. It's only really A grade that's up tonight. So we're watching Swartz from D grade now and pushing into the 300s a little bit there as well. Even the heart rate in the 150s, that's good to see. And we look at that revs per minute, and revs per minute really does get the heart rate off. And if you've got a higher cadence, higher stroke per minute, you tend to find the rate does go higher. So if you're struggling because your cardio is getting too high, your heart rate's getting, probably try and go down a few gears, lower your cadence, see if that settles your heart rate. So if you're struggling because you find the intensity is like a little bit heavier gear, and if you find that you can't push the heavier gear, well, maybe you need to do a strength block during the preparation. So there's plenty of workouts to be found on the Zwift platform. Check out the training programs. I've had my father doing a few of them over the past 12 months, and he certainly does enjoy that side of it. And also, that leads into bringing up Zwift Academy kicks off. And don't forget that you don't only have to be one of the young, any of the categories can join in. And it's certainly a really good training program involved in that Zwift Academy as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, sign up for that Zwift Academy. It starts next month in August.
Starts next month. Signups are open. I've signed up for Zwift Academy, and I mean, you guys have seen a lot of talent from your side of the world actually involved in that Zwift Academy, and a lot of success with it. I mean, obviously, Ollie Jones, Alex West, Ione Johnson. I mean, there's been a lot of talent from your area of the world there that have been picked up by pro teams. Have been obviously on the radars there for worldwide UCI level talent, actually, because of their participation in the Zwift racing, because of their participation in the Zwift community. So, jump in there, and it's not just about the talent identification, though, as was being said. It's also about being a part of the world's largest online training program, and registration did open up. They had a really cool promo, actually. This year's promo video, I absolutely loved it, and really fun to watch. But we'll see how it ends up playing out. Great way to get fit and get in shape. I'm actually looking forward to just to get on the bike a little bit more, as the broadcasting's absolutely happening. The broadcasting's happening more than the training lately, which is good fun, though, and we love to see everybody else suffering.
Yeah, we're watching others hurt themselves on here. I can see Bob Morley in there, so he's a Ballarat under as well, local club, as we're looking at D grade at the moment. So shout out, Bob. And I haven't seen you for a while, Bob, so I hope you're doing well. Yes, it's the Zwift Academy is a really great way to, if you haven't had exposure to a structured program before, it's a really nice way to lead into them. Learn how to utilize the structured plans, the companion app, and Zwift software as you go in through the training menu. And if you haven't looked into, maybe sign in one day, just have a little look around the platform that is Zwift, because there's plenty of little extras in the software, so utilize that. But still pushing really, and I think that this course is really showing that get the speed up and communicate well, then you're going to get an advantage. And using the power up, spoke about that earlier, Nathan, and that's really key, isn't it, on these?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the power-ups do make changes here for the riders, especially when they head to the front end of the group. In order to keep that speed as high as possible, they do want to rotate through them. And if you do have an arrow power-up, you do have a feather power-up, and you are able to use it for something other than just hanging out with your category, you head to that front, a little bit extra turn of speed, and able to increase that pace, because that's what it's going to be all about for trying to stay away from these categories that are on the chase. I did just click backwards just a little bit in this D category to see exactly where those C categories were at. Does look like there's still 329 to chase down between this D category and that C category. The D category might be pulling this off again here today. Jay Birch here now, 3.3 watts per kilogram, as you can see, 42 kilometers per hour, up toward the front here with this D category. They're traveling around about 38 here. The gap is coming down, but it is ever so slowly still here. In the A category, though, what is it looking like here for the chase? And it does look like they are making their way back on over toward the. They're quite a ways away still from that from those categories up ahead here. We are seeing them only 43 seconds though off some of the B category that are ahead of them. This is the main Bs. Now we have not looked at the Bs at all yet today. Apologies to them because they actually showed up in absolute force. We are seeing 92 riders in this B category, but they've got to get on here because the A's are counting them down here. Only 42 seconds back. We're seeing Tara and Heather here now from Specialized Women's Racing on the front. There's a draft power up. It does look like from Thomas. They're just using whatever he can. It looks like to increase some things here. Knights of Suburbia. That's a great. That is actually a great name. That's
a crew from Melbourne. It's a group of riders in Melbourne. They've got a training group, and they also go and race. They've got the same kit. One of the nicer kits on the as well. On Knights of Suburbia being a cool name, and it is, and it's the Knights of the Melbourne suburbs. So that's really a distinct kit in the peloton in Victoria in particular, but Melbourne around the club criterium circuit. And so shout out to the Knights of Suburbia. More than just one of you out there tonight. And speaking of more than just one out there, we saw Jason Birch that you touched on in the C grade category. He's all Ballarat. So it's imperative that I call out fellow Ballarat.
Yeah, I love it that knowing all these people in real life, I think that's part of the attraction to it as well, especially with the broadcast, knowing, hey, we're going to get our spot, get some time to shine the spotlight here as well as they take the polls on the front end. We do see Kay Ads here coming from the innovation end, Langham as well here, and Barroso, it's really starting to push the pace. They saw that A category coming on, and it looks like they're starting to wind it up a little bit. Crawford here from 3R Racing, as well as Anthony Vegan Porsche here from the Vision team did let me know that he was jumping in with one of his buddies. Hasn't been racing quite as much out on Zwift or even in real life, and so I believe he said his FTP dropped to like 3.5 or something like that. So it's like I'm jumping in with the B category tonight, Nathan. As he said, he got dropped off very quickly last time he did jump in with those A's. The gap was down, it looked like, to 40-some seconds a moment ago, but where did the A category go? Are they really this far back here still? Or have they simply just disappeared from the reality of Zwift racing? Here they are. And they will be seeing in just a moment here on the left-hand side. Oh, no, they've already passed that section. 33 seconds, though, is the difference here between the front end of this A category. They've dropped another 10 seconds since the last time we've looked, and I think they may make this happen. There's plenty of landscape left here to work with. Still 10K to go, 30 seconds. I think the A category is going to make this happen here today, Pat.
Yeah, well, they've got to keep pushing, though. It's not a done dinner yet, as we sometimes say. Still a gap out to the leaders in D grade. They've just got to stay positive out there. Got to stick together as a group and maintain it for the D graders. I think they've got under 8 kilometres to go, so they've still got a fair advantage here. But look at Trekkie Johnson, who we watch right now. Brendan Johnston, as he's known on his real time, but Trekkie's his nickname. He's flying, and he's always good for a big turn on the front. Put on a horse play in January, Zwift live event at the National Road Cycling Championship. So looks like Creel's made his way back too.
Yeah, I think Creel was caught by the pack, but that's just fine. He can put the effort in for them. So good to see that he's made his way back into the group here at this point. Looking at the time gaps here, I mean, still quite a lot of distance here between the D category and the A category. 2.5 kilometer distance that they're going to have to cover over the landscape that the D category does have to work with is going to be, I believe, about 5.5K. They'll be heading into a final lap here in just a moment, and we'll see if they're able to close this down here. It's going to be they're going to have their work cut out for them in order to make this happen. It's almost about a 3/4 of a lap that the A category is going to have to make up in order to chase down the D category that we are just bringing into your screen right here. D category's got quite the gap still over the A category at this point, or excuse me, over the C category. It's a 152 according to SwiftPower.com. D category might have this in the bag yet again this week, but like you always say, you can't let up. You have to keep on pressing on here, as we do see the feather power up here toward the front there coming from Dowdo. That's going to be Parslow as well. Parslow from Team ZF working well, and Brooks is there from the HDR. It looks like solid effort here all around from this D category. They've been really working well together the last couple of weeks. A category just making the catch on a few of these B riders as they look to bite the dust here off the back, perhaps even as they're picking up a little bit, as they're going to be picked up and make the catch. And Y Brown's in there as well. So now A category gaining a few more riders here from that B category. And maybe as they do catch the riders here, we might see a little bit more of light at the end of the tunnel here for them for the end of this race. We'll see if they can make this happen. But with half a lap distance between themselves almost and that D category, going to be tough for the win. Maybe be able to catch the C's. We'll see the C's now. Let's go ahead and see where they're sitting at. We're going to start comparing sections on course, and if they had a periscope, they could maybe see these C category riders here off in the distance, at this point. But they do not, they obviously don't have. But the long section of course here, the winding of it makes it so that the A category are unable to really get eyes on it. But here, as we do look at this section of course with the statue out in front of them here, they might start passing the C's and the D's and maybe get a little bit of motivation as they do see them on the other side of the course, because these courses do run parallel to each other at times. And just seeing them, having something in sights, oh, there they are, gives you a little bit of extra motivation. Also, having the B category only 17 seconds up at this point, I think is definitely going to be some motivation, at least to win out against them, Pat.
Well, the D graders have done a really good job tonight. There's only about 14 of them left in their group, and the C category has that massive group still. So a little bit of advantage, but they're running out of terrain. And you spoke before, still plenty of terrain left, but now is really starting to trek down. So looking at they've got 5.5 kilometers to go, and up in the D category, they've got far less than that. C grade just behind, but looks like D with that extra little handicap tonight. They started with 11 minutes in front of A grade tonight. Looks like that's going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, definitely. And the D category, now C category, maybe a little bit of battle between them, but again, the speeds though being so high though, we were speaking about that, how the flatness of this course keeps the speeds high on raw wattage. There's just a reality that the watts per kilogram maybe not as much of a factor tonight as the raw wattage, which will just create speed. It's when you're going uphill a whole lot, or at least have, like Innsbruck Ring that we saw last week, you've got this significant climb, and it got a little bit closer. We are seeing keep pushing C. Last lap, here we go. Last lap for K. Simpson and the rest of this C category. Now, they do have the D category, maybe not quite within their sights, but around a corner here. The D category is just coming into this section of the course that is downhill and a left-hand turn into a slight uphill gradient on those cobbles that we've seen each lap here. And just a moment ago, 34.4 kilometers here. I do believe there's about a 1K difference here now between the C category and the D category. If the C categories can really press on here, it may come down to a sprint, but they're going to have to, it's going to have to, like, all in, and whoever's putting the work in has to not care about being the sprinter on the day. They're essentially going to have to be a giant chase here of a peloton to bring it down to that sprint effort now. Tarosin here, 3.1 on the front. 347 watts, though. We were talking about in the reality of the speed being produced by the pure wattage. 400 watts now here coming from Tarosin here. So, it's at 5.1 watts per kilogram, but in that 4.2 watts per kilogram now, but at 400 plus watts. The reality is that is going to produce a high amount of speed. Drafting power-ups now being popped as riders looking and saying, look, this pace is extremely high. Lonagrid here, AHDR, as they are looking to try and chase down these Ds. Here's where the Ds are at. They're about to take that left-hand turn onto a little bit of an uphill climb now. Last lap here for both of these categories. Now we are seeing it looks like the A category now just getting into their last lap as well. It's actually coming pretty close here between the B, C, and A category, between the likes of all of them, as they are all onto their last lap here at this point, but the gaps may be just out of reach here. Here's this B category and that A category. We're going to see the catch now here out on course. Where are the C's? We did see them just past this point, I believe. I'm going to try and get a look here.
At 30 seconds.
Only 30 seconds. So really it's the D category here, Pat, that's really won out on the day, it seems like.
Yeah, they've definitely taken advantage of that extra minute, and it's about the difference at the moment that really sits them in front. They've still got an advantage of around 1 kilometre on the rest of the race as the rest of the grades start to come together. A and B, they start to amalgamate with C. It's a massive group of riders, and it's really all now. It's about a minute and 45 seconds from A grade all the way to the front to D grade, with D grade looking at around a kilometre and a half to the finish. So running out of terrain, A grade tonight. Looks like it's going to be D grade. Take it out, and it's been a great effort by them so far. Let's see who will take it out. We're in B grade at the moment with Higachi at the moment, but still a strong group at the front. Sandy Agnoletto and Scott Parslow are in the front for the D graders at the moment with about a kilometre to go.
Yeah, we are seeing a little bit of encouragement from Brooks. They're saying, go D. Really excited probably that they're going to take another win here out today. Noon here now up toward the front. Lockler from Team ZF. They've really got to press on, though. 219 beats per minute currently coming from Lock here. 220. I mean, this guy's heart rate is through the roof. Maybe a heart rate monitor malfunction, and perhaps he just really is beating like a butterfly there. Now we are seeing a couple more riders making their way to the front. I think the race is on, though, between the riders within the category now. I think they're going to start letting the gloves come off. They know that they've taken the win down here. The A and the B category just getting into a little bit of a climb here. They've almost got the. I mean, I'm not there. I don't think they're going to catch here, but it isn't a huge gap though. Still, they're on the same pavement now. They're on the same stretch of road. It's just a very long stretch of road out here. The A category have caught the Bs here at this point. With the C's now only 24 seconds up from here. Let's keep on moving forward here just a little bit. Here's the C category. I do believe the C category is going to be caught unless somebody takes a flyer off the front. It does look like one or two maybe have done so already. H. Martin here as well as A. Lee now. It looks like 200 watts, 187 beats per minute here coming from the C category. Back in with the D's though. Let's see if we can catch the finish here for them, as it looks like they are only about a K or so, about a K and a half here away. They're about to take this left. No, not even. They're within, I think it's about 500 meters to the finish line here at this point. Brooks here, and this is going to be the sprint for the win. It's going to be within the D category here now, and Brooks from AHDR now making their way around the corner here. Here it's now opening up now as we do see it looks like Hang now. Up and out of the saddle, it's going to be Parslow. Parslow with it looks like 10 watts per kilogram coming from Parslow. Absolutely demolishing this sprint now. It looks like, will he be able to hang on? That's going to be the question. Parslow with 10 watts per kilogram. But Pete Donahue comes through at the line, it looks like. And Pete Donahue for Team ZF now, followed up by last week's winner, Johnny Boy. And then it's going to be Parslow, I believe, across the line for third. Solid result there all around for the D category. Now it's going to be all about will the C's and the A's and the B's all come together. Looking behind, that's the beacon for the A category, because I am in the A category for this avatar speed here. So that is the difference right there. And there's the B category right behind, and they're about to come around. This is right at the line here, Pat. Look at this catch. Literally, you can see the sprint banner around the corner here is about to come around, and they're all within about 500 meters of each other.
Yeah, and all emptying the tank too. Great win by D grade. Well done again, week to week, so back to back. They're going to lose their handicap next week, but it's C grade. Can they hang on? You can see that beacon. It's like when you're having that bad dream. It's that really angry dog that's chasing you down the street. You don't want it to catch up, and it's got those glowing eyes. You wake up, oh, it was all just a dream. As they launch out now, it's Abbott, but look over the top. Big move here, and a great use of the power-ups, but Langham, no power-up, just using his pure power and powering to the line. But look at all those aero power-ups being popped from. It's all a bit too late, but it's worthwhile testing the legs for next week, particularly if they do get up next week. So it's a good sprint to the line there from the C-grade categories. Langham almost lasted all the way without the power-up. Back to B grade and A grade, who come in towards.
B grade might have actually taken that out there. I'm not positive. We'll see if we can get back in with the A grade. It does look like A grade here just crossed the line. Apologies on not being able to catch the sprint on that. But we'll see if we can see what the results were within the A grade. But Hodges here off the bat. You know, it looks like they almost got mixed in with some of the pack that got dropped off there from the categories up ahead.
Yeah, well, it seemed like there was a bit of a mix-up in that sprint, but you know, it's the old story. We're only worried about that front group today. D grade once again. It was in fact Langham from B grade, so B grade did make the catch right in the sprint. That's great vision there. But how's the sprint from the C grade of Stein? He's really moving there. We've got a great angle to slide on.
Almost taken down there from South Africa. It looks like Langham just nipped at the line. There was one other rider. It looked like just ahead. 40, it looked like, out of that C category. So solid effort there all around from those riders in that category. See if we can grab quick sprint a moment ago from the D category as they did come on through. As we are seeing here, I believe this is the C category. Where was the sprint here from the A, C's, and D's? I want to make sure that we get that. I mean, Pete really killed it there in that sprint. But it looks like we'll have to maybe not be able to grab that at this point. So once in a while when we do grab a replay, it doesn't like to cooperate with us too well. But looking at the chat here coming from Facebook here, we're seeing Wendy Mae Abib saying, "Go Jacob." Joshua Braytig lets us know, A grade missing a lot of firepower this week. Shame. We need to get you guys back out there. It sounds like Philip Keffer saying, "Nice finish, though. Nice to see it so close." Keffer, thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Since you were just about to comment how much above category guidelines the averages are once in a while here. Yeah, and, you know, make sure you are jumping into the correct, you know, category averages. It only helps everybody have the best race that they possibly can. You know, the reality of also maybe needing some sort of a ranking system or ability to say, hey, here's the best watts per kilogram that somebody has done in order to keep everything within results and not an estimation. But solid work all around from that D category and taking the win out there today. Pat, SRAM Send It Series up next and more Chop Racing next week. I think we've got the final next week for SRAM Send It.
Yeah, SRAM Send It Series live from Sydney, the live event. It's going to be a ripper. Can't wait for it, actually. Live events in Australia are always spectacular, and there's always a great turnout. We'll definitely see a lot of you there that are watching the stream tonight. Big shout out to Pete Donahue, who took out the chop tonight from Johnny Boy and Parslow, and also a shout out to Sandy Agnoletto and Bob Morley rounding out the top five. Great ride by D grade. We'll see you all again next Thursday to do it all again. And as I said, if you've got photos or you've got some pictures of your friends doing the chop racing of a night on a Thursday night, send them through to the Zwift Community Facebook page so we can pop it up on the stream as well, because as you said, Nathan, it's all about the community aspect as well, and we love to see everyone, particularly when they're in the hurt locker.
Yeah, definitely. We love the shout-outs there as well. And, Pat, thanks so much. I mean, we're looking forward next week to the SRAM Send It Series live. Again, we'll be back with the chop next week. Let's go ahead and leave this with that sprint. from the D category. They took it out this week. Solid job there all around, and it was going to be Parslow battling it out with Pete Donahue. As always, everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't hit those follow buttons, you haven't shared the stream up, make sure to do so. Get it out there to all your friends. Let them know what's going on here. We are live on Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, as well as Facebook. Make sure to turn on your notifications so you know anytime that we do go live. Solid sprint, though, and as always, that we're going to watch here as we go out. And as always, everybody, ride on. Oh, there it goes. Cheers, everybody.